Hello, I'm w.i.t.c.h.aholic, and welcome back to my channel. I'm doing part 2 of changes and additions I liked in the witch cartoon and how I would want to see them in a reboot. Again, I'm doing the next 6 episodes because I don't want it to be too long, but the next part might be more than 6. I don't know yet. Before I go on, I have 10 subscribers, which is pretty good. Um, I've only been on YouTube for I think 2 months, so thank you to everyone who subscribed. But I need at least 990 more to monetize my channel. So please, if you like this content, subscribe and recommend it. Does anyone else think we should ask YouTube to lower the minimum amount of subscribers? Because 1,000, is kind of a lot. You never know. So maybe we should ask YouTube to lower it. Even then, it'll probably still be a lot. But okay. I don't think I talked about the Abyss of Shadows in the last video, so I just want to go over some things. I think it's kind of silly that they made it be a pit, because like they had a dungeon already, so why have this pit? Yes, it's a very deep pit, but you could just throw people in the dungeon, like Rethor, right? Also, like the Abyss of Shadows, like it's such a sinister sounding name, but in the comics or the cartoon, like it doesn't there doesn't seem to be any reason for it. Like there's no like evil magic in there or anything. So in a reboot, if they keep the name Abyss of Shadows, like, well, I would like to keep it to be. I like it to still be the underground room that Phobos has his garden, but I like it to be like expanded on why it's called that, and to connect it with the Black Spring that he mentioned once in one of the issues. Okay, so on to issue 7, which I have like a lot of notes here again. So for the 7th one, like I liked it, but it felt like a little pointless, like more filler. But it was nice. I liked it. It's also really funny how they decided to go on the ski trip because Sandra was going, you know? And it's also like, I don't know, is that a thing? Like for schools to just take their. And it seemed like the whole school was going on a ski trip? Is that normal? Like, wow. Like, do I. Also, the whole thing with Sandra, like, it was so weird. Like, first of all, when she came, she lied about knowing Russian and being Swiss, which is like, what is up with that? Like, it's probably like normal, like for kids to lie a bit, but such big lies. And it's not like she even needed it, right? Because all the guys were just fawning over her. So now that I'm thinking about it, I just want to know more about this character. Why is she lying so much? And yes, she is pretty, but to have the guys just drool over her, is that normal? I mean, I went to an all girls school for every year of school, so I don't know if that's normal, but that doesn't seem to me to be so normal. And it's not like she cast a spell, right? I mean, in season 2, we see Narissa actually cast a spell, on herself, which explains the behavior. But here, like, as far as we know, she didn't. So that doesn't really explain it. By the way, in the comics, we actually see like more of this, that there's more magic on Earth, and with Arc 8, we actually see all the kids, all these magic kids, that are popping up out of nowhere. So in a reboot, I would actually like, again, I think this would be a good episode to like foreshadow that, or like the Interpol, investigation a bit, and 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 we learn like Sandra does have magic, right? And then she becomes like more of a major character later on, for good or for bad. I think that'd be very interesting. Just and also like this, it just felt like weird, just like having her do this whole thing and like she never showed up again after. So again, in the reboot, I would like her to be like a more major part, and of it and everything, and the girls to find out she has magic, and this along along with others showing magic could lead to like a reveal of some sorts. Um, right? I have like I really like have this idea of like Heatherfield, like a lot of people like secretly being in the know, and it's like a whole thing by the Oracle, like that could lead to that reveal. Um, I thought it's funny, like when you see Sandra sitting on a bench with a sandwich and all the guys, holding out a drink, and then Cornelia tries it, but no one gives her a drink. Like that was funny, but like, does that usually happen when Cornelia is eating? Like she's pretty, but like we don't have any indication that that happens. Also, in the chapter book versions of the comics, it's mentioned a few times that Cornelia is like part of the popular crowd, but like we don't really see that. So, and the ski trip itself was pretty funny. Of course, there's Yan Lin and Caleb. That's some funny parts. I thought it was interesting that Sandra and Will were fighting over Matt, because, yeah, he's good looking, but like his comic book self, was way more handsome. Here, he's like average. Also, what is with all the romance? Not just in this, but like in the cartoons and a lot of things for kids. These characters are 12 and 13. Matt is, I think, a year or two older. He's still a kid. In the comics, the girls were 13 and 14, but they're still kids. Why is there so much romance? Like, besides their kids, in the real world, kids this age are getting pregnant and getting each other pregnant because they are dating. This should not be encouraged in any way. No, please don't have romance in kids cartoons. Like in the reboot, if it lasted, if it was a bunch more seasons and the passage of time was clear, so towards the end there were at least 16 and 17, okay, a bit more, you could put in a bit of romance, but not when they're like this age, so young. Anyway, I like the part of like Helen using her powers to keep Will up. It show like Will's sneaky side and how they're creative. I like to see more of that in a reboot, just like, thinking of ways to use their powers, and also, again, Like they're in class learning science. It'd be like we all, whenever we learn stuff in school, like we're always thinking, "Ugh, we're not gonna need this," but it'd be very cool if they actually learned something in science class that they could use, or they started looking up, about like elements and and how to apply that to their magic. Um, and when it came to like the avalanche that Cedric caused, um, like yes, they weren't transformed, so they're weaker, but they were like so much weaker. And I'm thinking like in the comics, like they've been able to do a little more. Like why are they so weak? Um, and also like why do they need will to be there to transform? Like it just doesn't make sense, you know? What if again something like this happened and there's an enemy? Like it doesn't make sense. So in a reboot, I would like it that again they don't need her to transform, but and Will again has her powers from the beginning. And again, when if it's a problem of like not wanting them to be too overpowered, like you could still like work something out, right? Like it's kind of like I don't know, I guess maybe if Will is distracted, then it won't work, you know, or something. But and we did like this. And I found it funny at the end when Cedric, went through the snow and we see him later popping out of a manhole by the bookstore. That was funny, but again, so that means he went through the sewers. How does he know that? Like it's not like they have maps down there, right? And just this thing that bothers me, like whenever you have like cartoons, and in fact, in the Witch comics, you see them later on going underground. Like, how do they know how to navigate the sewer system? Again, it's not like there's maps or anything. And again, you have to use manholes, which are usually in the middle of the street where traffic is. How does this work? I mean, like, come on, people. Like, Cedric was so lucky he wasn't run over, you know? Okay, so what's with the eighth? Okay, so we open up with another portal. And again, it seems portals are just like popping up randomly. Again, a reboot, there were like some explanation how this works. Also, like, so Caleb was back in Meridian, right? So it's like, so he's just traveling back on Earth. Like, just doesn't make sense. Like, he's the rebel leader, right? So he should be on Meridian, not on Earth, right? And he should be only going to Earth when he needs to, like, tell the girls something important, right? It makes no sense for him to be traveling, really. And, well, I also like it, like, the girls are, like, more involved, and going to Meridian more, like, having, Caleb and others actually go to them, tell them about problems. Um, like it's good for that. Um, Now in this one, we actually learn about the seal of Phobos and how they made a rumor that it was found so they could find who the spy was. But again, how would the rebels and anyone else know what the seal is? Like Galgada and Mariadal and Alborn, okay, they were the castle servants. They were probably close to the queen, and so it would make sense, but just all these commoners? Why would they know that? Um, right? And again, like the seal, like, this is so strange. Like, apparently it has the power to make portals, but Phobos can't, even though he has it and probably created it. Like, this does not make sense at all. And by the way, how was Galgada able to take it? Like you, and again, how did like she know about it? Like, that doesn't make sense. Also, in a flashback, we see her going through the portal, but not Mariadal and Alborn. So I guess they went before her. And it also seems like they knew about the escape because there were like soldiers there. I mean, it didn't sound like that in the comics, you know? Though I really liked the Taurus filmy part. Like, that was cool. We got to see more of Meridian. That sand pit was just so cool. But since it was introduced, like, I want to know more about it. Like, it became, like, kind of major, especially in the second season. And, like, we don't know anything about it. Like, come on. I want just something, even if it's just a little bit. Like, legend has it that whatever. But they just have, like, this random sandpit, like, that eats people, and we get nothing about it. Come on, writers. You know? Yeah, I have to. Also, this episode was the play, and we actually see, like, drama night, and that I liked. Because in the comics, we see Hela needs to think of a story for the play, but I don't think it said why she's the one. So I like, again, this idea of drama night and that people sign up. Now, again, the story they chose again is with the four dragons. Now, there were some changes from the comics, like Shinjing is the Emperor's daughter, which I thought was silly. Also, again, it's based on an actual Chinese legend, the tale of the four dragons, though, of course, that did not have the nymph or the heart, so I just feel it's strange because it's not like Chinese mythology is a part of this universe, so why have the powers be based on a legend, right? And again, they already have. It's not like they had no idea. I mean, they had the Xinqing part. Why not just build up in it, and have Xinjing be a nymph of the elements, and explain something from there. And you can also explain more about the elements themselves and Kandrakar. Like, again, like now, just thinking off the top of my head, it would have made much more sense if, like, Xinxing was the one who turned evil that the fight instead of Narissa. Like, again, maybe she was, um, right, she was the nymph of the elements because she was so kind and compassionate and whatever, but then something happened and, she started using her powers against the people. So she was imprisoned inside this crystal. And, you know, so she was like, again, we see like like the heart thing's on its own because it's, again, Shinjing in it, but it's like not a lot. And then the second season, we see her like awaken fully, and now they have to like fight her or something. Like that makes so much sense than having Narissa, especially from the comics, being like this crazy maniac. Oh, I think, and we'll talk a lot more about Narissa in the second season. Whew. But again, but in the reboot, if they have the play again, I would have liked the play to be based on the legend, on the actual legend, to have a nod to the comics, right? And because it's a cool story, and again, they'll know about Shinjing because Will is noticing some strange things happening, and I mention it to Yanlin, and she's like, "Oh no, it must be because Shinjing, but we don't really have time for that because of Phobos, and then the second season could be that or something. Oop, I have to remember this idea for like my how I would reboot Witch and everything. Now about the astral traps. Now in the comics, they're like um them really. I mean, it was funny how they were acting, but I think I read somewhere like they were made like stupid and clueless because of how Will's astral trap acted in the comics. But that was once, and only because she was worried about having someone like her with her memories. Making the astral traps just dumb just doesn't make sense. Especially again, because in the universe, why would you make the Guardians have this power and but make their copies be so dumb? Like, come on. And and especially again, because they could have just had Will's astral trap act clueless because she was nervous. And like in the comics, it could like, cause some problems or something. They didn't have to make all the astral traps dumb. But again, I wouldn't want it to be like in this episode, because yes, it was funny, but like, come on, to make this ruin Halen's play, especially when in the comics it was such a success. Why are you doing this, writers? These poor girls are fighting evil. Don't have the play ruined by their stupid astral traps. Come on. But yeah, I did like this episode a lot. Okay, number 9. Now they have the celebrity VMJ, and they're going to the premiere of his movie. It's, it's okay, but like in the episode, we have Carmilla, who's a singer, and we also have again the episode again with the portal, by the stadium when she's performing. So why did they have to have this whole new celebrity and this movie thing, especially when she's not in the cartoon at all? So like, did he replace her? Like, if so, that is so pointless. Like, why not just have him, just why not have him, be in this episode and in the second season, instead of having him sing at the dance, you have something by Carmilla's concert at least, right? Don't just replace a character for no reason. Like, why don't they have Carmilla? No, and I like how they use the tracker. Because it doesn't make sense why Phobos only has Frost and Cedric and for a short time v.i.t.c.h to do all this dirty work. So Tracker and the, Sniffer, again, having him make sense, but again, that's like only two other minions. Why doesn't he have more? It needs some explanation. Also, again, Tracker looks like a zombie, and he could let out that cloud of bats from him. What is this? I need an explanation. Is this because of Phobos' magic? Also, again, Frost and Cedric, what are their stories? Like, I need this. I need to know. You know? Also, again, like, Phobos is supposed to be so powerful, and again, this dark magic, right? Again, like, we see how he makes, again, the Whisperers in the comics in the reboot. Again, especially, again, like I said in the first video, Andrew said that they didn't have all their powers because it'll be too easy for them to win, and they also needed to involve other characters. But in a reboot, if you really show Phobos' power again, and you show, and you say like he made the tracker or something, and you have him make all these like really twisted things and whatever, and use all this dark evil magic, like that would be a very good balance, right? So in a reboot, yeah, I would really like to see his like powers be shown more and also explained, because like we don't really know what his powers are. Like, we could guess based on what we see in the cartoon and comics, but it's not like we know what his powers are. So yeah, in a reboot, I like his powers to be explained and like to be really shown, like the depth. But yeah, and this show really showed again using the tracker, sending the tracker after them, like through the portal, was really smart. Though I think it was really after Caleb and not them. But again, like this I like, because even if he's not like trying to kidnap the Guardians or something, again, it shows like Phobos's cunning and evil. Like, he doesn't care about sending this creature like through Earth to Earth where it can do damage. I like that. In a reboot, again, I like to see more of that. Like sending creatures after them, because, like, yeah, he wants to get rid of them, but, like, come on. We don't really see that in the comics. Like, he's just, chilling, and they're, like, coming to the portal. Especially in the cartoon, like, they keep on coming and helping the rebels, and, he's not really doing anything to stop them. So, in the reboot, yes, I like to see him be more active and actually trying to send monsters after them. And again, also, right, and how with all their powers, it's just draining, and this could also like set up a reveal, like, of for their parents to know, or the town or something, and that could lead into like just another conflict for a future arc. Also, wow, Chris is a terror. Like, we see, like, in the comics, like, he's a pest, but, like, here, he seems to, like, really be crazy. And, like, also, like, skating in the house, using the fishbowl as a puck. What? I mean, I have little brothers, and they never did anything like that. when they were younger. Is that kind of like normal? I feel like maybe Chris is a bit like unrealistic. Mm, I don't know. Okay. So 10. Again, there's something that wasn't in the comics, the school carnival, but I liked it. It was nice, but like why not just have it like the comics, right? But like it didn't really matter. Um though the thing that bothered me like was the sleepover and you see Martin trying to crash. First of all, how did he know about the sleepover? Second of all, like wow, that's really creepy and he even took a picture. Like Martin in the comics, Martin is supposed to be like, clueless. The Irma doesn't like him and everything, but he's not really like a stalker, right? Here he's actually trying to crash their pajama party. What is this? Though at least to give them an idea for the carnival. And by the way, like we actually see Elion is like there. She's invited, she's included, so it doesn't make sense how she will like just turn on her friends like that. And refuse to even ask their side of their story later. Um, and so now we actually see Phobos, in the castle talking to a painter, and he says, I had the other painter imprisoned in his own painting for daring to paint a happy picture. And again, not really like the comics, and it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, in the cartoon he's like dark and everything, but to imprison your painter in his painting because he painted a happy picture, yes, he's supposed to be evil, but that. Meanwhile, in the comics, again, Elias was in his painting because he painted a picture in the first place, which also, again, was like kind of strange, like not really, explained. Like, why would he hate having his own picture taken so much? So, yeah, in a reboot, I don't know which one I prefer. Like, I want obviously them to have him be in the painting, but it should make more sense, be explained. Also, what is with them changing everyone's character design so much? Like, Elias really doesn't look like his comic book self. Like, why not? All they had to do was copy the drawings from the comic. I mean, come on, people. So, yeah, in the reboot, definitely want everyone to look like they did in the comic. And now the painting actually sucks the four girls in when they go, look at it, and not Irma because she's practicing jousting. And this, like I don't know. Again, like it wasn't in the comics, and it's not like. And yeah, there's a portal, but it's not like portals suck you in, right? So that was just kind of strange. Though I really like that we actually see Phobos able to like see everything from the painting. In the comics, we actually saw Cedric, watching what was going on and then telling him. It was also, again, because the portal was there, and I guess they knew, is also like a trap. So I would like it to be in the reboot more like the comics, that they're actually trapping, that they actually set up a trap, which would also explain why their powers weren't working. But again, the powers are from the heart, which is supposed to be super powerful. So something like, definitely in a reboot, I like them to have the trap. Um, I like it to be a trap, um, trap and lure them in, and again send Cedric in. I really like in it's in Froston. I really like in the cartoon how they actually sent that small army in. Like, yeah, you that really shows that you want to get rid of those guardians. Yeah, I really like that. But again, like the powers weren't working. Like, it's not really explained why. We actually see that whatever Elias and Helen paint comes to life, which was interesting. But like, how does that work really? Right? Like, it's not like the painting really is magic. And if they could do that, then why can't they use their powers? Right? And that was really funny when Phobos used his sword as at the end to split it, causing them each to tumble out. And but it wasn't just they and Elias came out. It was like the painting people came out. But they weren't real. They were just painted, right? Also in the cartoon, like apparently Elias became a tour guide and is living on Earth, but he's never mentioned again. I would like in a reboot, if they have that, I would like to see it explained, right? Or even if, like in the comics that he stayed in, again, I like to see them go to him again after Eliana's queen, and ask, "Do you want to come out now? Because Phobos is not in charge anymore." It's pretty good. Let's see. Skipping. And then come episode 11, The Stone of Three, which, again, it's not from the comics, but I really like the concept of it. But the story behind it doesn't really make sense. So apparently, I think it's when Wira was a little girl, she was lost, so they asked the mage to help. But again, as the princess, she's supposed to have all this power. Um, but again, the royal family is supposed to have all this power. So why couldn't her mother have done a spell to find her? Oh, I was thinking, like, there's a lot of things I need to think about for my video on how to reboot Witch. All these elements from the comics and cartoon to think about and make mix in the best way to make sense. So that story really didn't make sense. And again, like the mage, like, again, like, she's not in the comics, so she's also like more major. So like, why? Like, if you're gonna have an original character, I don't think it should really be like a major character. And it's also when it's something like the mage, then you have to wonder, why was Phobos able to take over if she was there? You know, like, why would they need the Guardians really if she was there? She's supposed to be this really powerful person. So, you know, something. Oh, also, I forgot, but in the The episode 8, like we actually see people there, but they're humans. But in the comics, we clearly see that most of the people there are not. They're what's called Galhats, though they could shapeshift into humans. So some of them probably walk around in a human form, but most of them don't. So, like, why is that? Why did they change that? In a reboot, I would like them to be the Galhats and maybe explain a little more about this power. Back to the Stone of Threeb. Though, again, it does explain how they knew who Elion was, because that's not explained in the comics, but again, in the cartoon, he was able to, again, see who the Guardians were. So why couldn't he have just found his sister with a spell? Right? But again, I would like it to see the Stone of Threeb in a reboot. But, something like that, but needs to make sense. And I really like the plant that he sent through the portal and enlarged it, and how it like threatened the train tracks. Again, that shows him like he's cunning and he really wants to get rid of the Guardians. Like that'd be cool. Like in a reboot, he should do more like that. Send creatures after them, and also try to take away their powers or weaken them. As I'm thinking, like Witch is pretty dark, and it was supposed to be much darker in the comics, and then they changed it. But now, as I'm thinking about all this, like a reboot could be really dark. Again, you have these girls, young kids fighting, and with this evil prince who, besides trying to kill them, is sending monsters and creatures after them. And in Heatherfield, which they have to protect and protect their identity. Wow. Of course, I wouldn't want it to be too dark because it's still a, a children's franchise, but this could be pretty dark. Of course, a lot of things for children are pretty dark when you think about it, like Disney. But, yeah, this could really have a dark reboot. So, now for the princess revealed. Again, we see Caleb working at the Silver Dragon, but again, like, he's the rebel leader. He should be spending all his time on Meridian, right? Training the soldiers. Also, it's apparently to raise money, but it's not like they use Earth money on Meridian, right? And how's he supposed to work anyway? He just comes to work whenever there's a convenient portal, you know? Like I don't know, just keep him on Meridian. Though it does make the romance between him and Cornelia make more sense a little, but again, she's 13 in the cartoon, 14 in the comics. He's probably not much older. They shouldn't have a romance in the first place. Like, it'll be a little strange, I guess, not to see the romance in a reboot, but again, there's no need to have romance with kids, right? In fact, that could really explain why she and Peter are together later when they're older, because she really didn't have the romance with Caleb when they were younger. There's also the carnival, which in the comics was abandoned, and in the cartoon it's not. So, I mean, that really doesn't make a difference. But I like that the portal's still there. And also, again, they send the Larvik after Vathic, and then they go with it to the portal. That was really cool. I like the fight scene and the danger. Um, soon. Okay. Okay. That was my father, so I had to answer him. Yeah, I really like the the Larvik aspect. First of all, again, once they discovered he was the spy, I mean, trying to get it to eat him, and then I didn't watch the whole episode. I think it was, again, to chase specifically him on Earth. I really liked it. Also, again, the Larvik, while it wasn't in the comics, it was still interesting. I liked how they had all these creatures from the cartoon. Now, I think it's. Oh no, it was the end of the last episode when Cedric, tells Phobos, "This is your sister." It seems like he's doing kind of a spell on the picture. And then when she's at the store, like we see like his face and there's lightning. Seems like again he's doing a spell on her, which I guess would explain her behavior later. But then, so I'd really like that to be in a reboot, right? To actually show like he enchanted her in some way, and that's why she's just refusing to talk to her friends and thinks they're evil. So that they should definitely have in the reboot. Um, Again, it looks like he's doing some sort of spell, but then later on he has like this ceremony of amalgamation. Like, what was the point of that if he's apparently enchanting her? Okay. And again, back to the last episode. Again, we see like again there's a romance subplot between Elion and Brian, which again they're like 13. Like, this shouldn't be a romantic subplot, you know? Um, so, anyway, yeah, that was 6 episodes, and this is a little shorter than last time, but it's still pretty long, so I'll see. The third part will probably be 6 episodes, it might be longer. If you don't mind the next one being really long, like over an hour, tell me and I'll do more episodes. And I will see you later. I might have another video out this week. I don't know yet. I don't really have a set schedule. So, anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and how you would reboot the witch. And I'll see you later.